The United Kingdom band called the Sports Team was robbed at gunpoint while getting coffee in California on first day of U.S. tour. Get down, the headline reads. Oh, man. Can you imagine? Well, they got Californicated, didn't they? Let's get into it. Here we go.
Ring the police! Guys, somebody ring the... Get down. Get down, Lauren, get down! Ring the police! Guys, somebody ring the police! Yeah, and my laptop.
Oh, brutal.
You get your...
Guys, please stay inside.
Stay inside.
Get inside.
Please stay inside.
Get inside!
Jeez.
Lauren, get down!
Video shows the moments British band Sports Team was robbed in Vallejo Tuesday morning. The band, which has had 2 top 10 albums in the UK, had flown to America just hours before to begin a tour. They tell me earlier in the day they had stopped in a local Starbucks en route to their first show in Sacramento when the robbery occurred.
And some guy came in sort of seconds later telling us that a white Sprinter van was being broken into. So instinctively, we all ran out and started shouting.
After running up to confront them, the band tells me the men robbing the van then brandished a gun.
We retreated to go back inside and were just forced to watch and carry out all of our personal items from the van.
The robbers took most of their personal belongings, including laptops and their passports. However, they weren't able to get any of the instruments. The group says while the incident was intense, the most shocking part was the reaction from other people after it happened. They tell me they were struck by the impression folks gave off that things like this happen all the time.
In the UK, incredibly shocked. So when someone's pulled a gun on you. But then from the US, there definitely is this kind of resigned nature from a lot of people. We find a little bit strange.
Despite the incident, the band tells me it hasn't tainted their view of the Bay Area, a region they've been to several times and love. They also say the support from fans has been comforting.
I think we've been so overwhelmed by the response we've had from our fans, from people within the Bay Area, and people reaching out to say that they have family members in Sacramento and can they help? And you definitely don't feel alone in this situation.
The band eventually made it to Sacramento and played the first show as scheduled Tuesday night, determined not to let the experience ruin their newly launched tour.
Being able to play shows, connect with people, use music as a way of getting through experiences like that. There's kind of nothing more special.
We did reach out to the Vallejo Police Department to see if they could comment on the robbery or ensuing investigation. As of now, we have not heard back.
Hey, welcome to California. Sorry you got robbed, but that's pretty normal. So, as Gavin Newsom does his thing, he tries to run for office in 2028. Remember these kind of storylines. Hey, remember that one time we were on tour in California in the Bay Area and our van got absolutely broken into and all our stuff got ripped off? Yeah, that's that soft on crime policy. So if you want that to spread to, a state near you or your state or your city, go ahead and vote for Gavin Newsom because this is his state. This is how crime has just exploded, where they've literally got a vocabulary for this kind of thing. And you know what it's called? Bipping. And that stands for a break-in in progress. For all of you folks that have just been listening to mainstream media and just haven't gotten the news that, hey, break-ins happen in California all the time. The Bay Area? Oh, yeah. I mean, how many podcasts have we done on that? Well, let's go ahead and read this article, see what else we got here. British rock band Sports Team was robbed at gunpoint in broad daylight. I mean, that was just, that is normal, right? And what I talk about is how often bands come to Washington State or come to Oregon and get their big white van broken into. It happens all the time, right? California, especially Bay Area, San Francisco, you just know it's a hotbed for stealing your stuff. So this happened in broad daylight while they'd stopped for coffee in California on the first day of their U.S. tour. Hey, gents and gentette, welcome to California. please have your van broken into. And you know what? We're not going to get your stuff back, but hey, it's good that you have band members and you have, fans that are willing to help you out. But this kind of thing shouldn't be happening in the first place. And the reason it is happening is because of terrible political decisions and the continued voting in of elected officials that have terrible principles and put together terrible laws that encourage this kind of thing. And we know this because crime has done to the moon, right? How many stories in these big liberal cities, big liberal counties, big liberal states, how many stories have I done of bands getting their vans broken into and all their equipment taken? I don't know. I believe I'm getting close to 20. And those are just the ones here that West Coast, Best Coast, that come to me easily. The band, consisting of touched down in California, ahead of their first gig in Sacramento on Tuesday. But after stopping it, they were at a Starbucks, nearly an hour away from their show at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. This is in the morning. Hey, let's go get a little coffee. Okay. Hey, maybe somebody needs to stay in the van. You know what? The airport should be absolutely warning people. Hey, you know what? You just flown into San Francisco, flown into Oakland, wherever, Oakland. Don't leave any stuff in your car. And you know what? Maybe don't rent a car. Just take an Uber, take a taxi. Now you can't do that if you're a band, right? Because you got to carry all your stuff around. So have somebody in the van all the time. But there just hasn't been enough folks that are paying attention to this storyline going on. And they're just, let's get in the van. It's 9 a.m. Now, honestly, I would not think that my car is going to be broken into at 9 a.m. either. But when do you think, oh, hey, you know what? Now might be a good time for my car to be broken into. You just don't think that. Band's van was ransacked by a group of armed men, as they typically are. Just been robbed at gunpoint 10 minutes into the U.S. tour, London-based rockers wrote on an Instagram post. Band's tour manager bravely confronted one of the robbers, who in turn pulled out a gun. Now, and you got a little bipping action going on. Oftentimes you come prepared with a gun. So I'm sure it's a stolen gun, maybe a ghost gun, who knows? But, it's not somebody that has the lawful right to own said gun. What do you want to bet the person that stole their stuff has, 4, 5, 6 convictions, 10, 15 misdemeanors? What do you want to bet they have a conviction for armed robbery? What do you want to bet that they have a conviction for auto theft? Yeah, maybe a little domestic violence. Who knows, right? Who knows? But anything is possible. So, man runs in saying some guys are smashing into a van. They continued alongside video footage of the robbery, ran out to try to stop it and find masked guys ransacking the van. Here's their Instagram post. It's terrible. Lost a lot of personal gear, but they didn't get the instruments. So driving on to Sacramento to play tonight. They could take our Nintendo Switches, but they can never take our ability to play rock songs about motorways. In all seriousness, pretty shocking how resigned everyone seemed to be to it. It happens. 9 a.m. at some petrol station, Starbucks, wild. That's kind of how I would write this. 9 a.m. at some petrol station, Starbucks, wild. And nobody seems to, bat an eye, right? Just, oh, hey, yeah, you got robbed? Oh, well, I mean, it is a Tuesday at 9 a.m. Anything's possible here in California. So I'm sorry that happened, but we'll take down some of your information and you're a band and how much stuff did you get stolen? And welcome to California. Welcome to California. So these are the storylines that, are indicative of the state of California. And because we didn't used to have this, we didn't used to have an epidemic of bands getting their stuff jacked. But all of these criminals know that, there's no prosecution of this kind of crime. And even if there is, you basically just get a slap on the wrist. You get probation. You get basically nothing. We need that tide to turn before that happens. And until that tide turns, and it's going to take a long, long time. And in California, I don't know that it will because, progress. You've got so many progressives in California in these areas, especially the areas, where you're going to have a band play basically a tour. Maybe some on Northern California. You're going to have some cities that are going to be a little bit better off, but Bay Area, Sacramento, no. So local police advised them to submit a police report online as they dealt with the materialistic losses and a smashed passenger window. Well, hopefully it was a rental and rental company will send somebody out and fix that. But what a drag, But you also want to say, that is pretty normal. It's pretty normal, especially when you've got a van. They know there's stuff in it because otherwise, why are you driving a van around? There's always goodies in there. I'm surprised they didn't get their instruments stolen. I'm really surprised because that's usually what gets stolen, right? And you can't replace that. So the band claimed the brazen thieves stole their laptops, in-ear monitors, cameras, and other personal items. Okay. Well, as long as they didn't get the big ticket items that are way more expensive, I'd say they got lucky, right? Sports team instruments were safe and was able to perform at the Goldfield Trading Post in Sacramento. They can take our Nintendo Switches, but we already read that. In all seriousness, pretty shocking. That is the takeaway here. So you got somebody that's come in from the UK and day one, hey, welcome to the United States tour. Sorry about that whole getting robbed thing. What a shame. Recounting the incidents hours later, the band's drummer said everyone ran out shouting. Somebody opened the door and it was like, does anybody have a white Sprinter van? Because you're being robbed right now. That is horrible. Just awful. Known for their songs, M5, The Drop, and Here's the Thing, sports band were nominated for a Mercury Prize in 2020, an annual award ceremony that honors the best music albums from the United Kingdom and Ireland. So they've been at this for a little while. They look like they are mid to late 20s, something like that. The band's debut album, Deep Down Happy, except for that whole bipping incident, shot to the second spot on the UK albums chart, serving as a springboard for their 2022 album, Gulp, which reached the top 3 in the charts. Well, sports band, I hope that the rest of your tour goes better than that. After that, everything should be, just a little bit easier, right? Don't you think? But you know what? All that gear needs to come inside your hotel room or have somebody stay with it out in the van. And I'm dead serious. I mean, I have read story after story after story of bands having their vans, ripped off and even the whole thing taken. And, that absolutely sucks. But you're coming in from another country. Maybe you haven't heard, but California is rife with theft like this. And it's not just California, all up and down the West Coast. You've got a real criminal element out there that is preying on situations like this. And unfortunately, sports band, you guys were taken advantage of a little bipping action. That's terrible. I'm sorry that happened. But it's also like, that is pretty normal as well. So if you want to keep that coming, or if you want to continue that in your city, your county, your state, go ahead and vote for Gruesome Newsom in 2028. Good luck with that. I will be voting for whomever else is running against him on the Republican platform. Thanks so much for being here. I'll catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.